For even more Atari fun, head over to Atari.io. It's Atari-tastic. Oh, Donkey Kong Jr. Man, what a fun arcade game. I remember when this first came out in my local arcade. I had a hard time with it. I can't play video games very good, but I really enjoy trying. One of the more challenging things about this game is trying to hop from vine to vine and avoiding those little snapjaw guys. And not being very coordinated, I usually have a hard time, getting around the screen. But I do have a lot of fun playing the game. Of course, one of my favorite screens on the game is, of course, the key level, where you're trying to avoid these little birds and the snapjaws flying around the screen, coming down the chains. I don't know what it is about this particular screen on Donkey Kong Jr., the arcade game. I just really like it for some reason. It's one of my favorite screens on the game. I've not really been too far in the game because like I said, I can't play it very well, but I do enjoy it. It has several neat little screens on there. You got another screen where you have like a springboard you got to bounce off of and get through all these little obstacles to get to the top. I have not really made it that far very often. When I do, I think it's mainly just luck. But I still enjoy playing the game. I never set a high score on this in my local arcade. If anything, I usually set the lowest score. But then it came out for my good old Atari 2600 from Coleco. Now this game showed up in the Columbia House Club flyer that I got in the mail because I joined that club to get games, first release games fairly quickly, sometimes before even the store got them. And I remember seeing this show up in the catalog. So of course I went ahead and ordered the game and was pretty excited to get it. Now, my first initial impressions of the game when I got it was, well, it's kind of, don't look all that great, but it was kind of like Donkey Kong Jr., and I liked the arcade game. I did enjoy playing the 2600 version back then. But I played on the 2600, and I could very rarely get to the third screen. If I did, it was purely by luck. I think I've only gotten by the third screen a handful of times, the whole time I've ever played this game. But it has a lot of differences from the arcade game. For one, there's not as much stuff going on the screen. You actually have to hit the joystick direction again to pop off of a vine. You just can't just keep running. It's kind of offsetting. And the snapjaws seem to kind of like they want to follow you more on the 2600 version. I have a hard time getting across the first screen. Of course, my favorite screen, the key screen, is in this version. It's very watered down. You only got 3 keys you got to push to the top. And it's a little bit different from the arcade where the birds stay at the bottom and the snapjaws drop down and they'll hover right below the chain you're on. So you just can't drop off the chain. You got to cycle over and drop off next to the snapjaw to move on down the screen. Kind of didn't really like that in the gameplay, but it was passable. And then, of course, the third screen in the game, which would be that electric thing. This screen is near impossible for me. I never can get coordinated enough to get timed well to get clear to the top of this crazy screen. Those little crisscross snapjaw guys get me almost every frickin' time. But it's still a fun game to play. Now, I still like the 2600 version of Donkey Kong, even though it only has 2 screens. And I kind of prefer playing that one over this Donkey Kong Jr. because this one kind of gets on my nerves after a while. The controls of the game actually mess me up. But it's okay. So now let's take a look at what came in the box. Donkey Kong Jr. Let's take a look at the cartridge in the box. Love this game. I love the game in the arcade, as I previously just told in this video. Pretty excited to get this cartridge back then. It was one of the games I got from the Columbia House Record Club. And you can see this originally sold for $29.97 at Child World Children's Palace. That was such a great toy store. Nice box art. You got the logo for Donkey Kong Jr. Like typical Coleco games, they put the picture of the arcade game on the front, which I really, really like. On the back of the box, talks about the gameplay a little bit. I love these little intros here. The tables have turned. Now Mario has Papa Donkey Kong locked in a cage, and only Donkey Kong Jr. can save him. Jr. climbs and swings across the vines to reach a special key to free his Papa. Mario sends snarl-japping creatures to chase him. If Jr. makes the rescue, he'll advance to another screen, where he must push keys up chains while eluding more of Mario's dangerous helpers. The third screen is the most challenging of all. Help Donkey Kong Jr. save his Papa from the revenge of Mario. I love those little stories. So inside we have our cartridge, of course. Really nice looking logo on here. I like the ColecoVision cartridges. They kind of stand out up on the shelf. And our instruction manual. Gray, red, and white. Typical Coleco manual. Nice artwork on here. Talks about the game description, what I just talked about. How to use the controls, your skill levels. There's 8 skill levels to choose from. Skill level 1 is the easiest. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to play. You can see this is compatible with the Gemini, Coleco Gemini, so it shows a picture of that joystick on here as well. How to control your little guy. Does only have like 3 screens out of the arcade, but it's kind of cool. It's better than the Donkey Kong. Only had 2 screens. At least they had 3 in this one, which is kind of nice. Of course, it has my ultimate all-time favorite level, the key level. I love this level in the arcade. It's actually a pretty fun game to play. And in your scoring, the fun of discovery. What else could you find in Donkey Kong Jr.? Awesome. Really cool. Yeah, I just love these arcade ports to my Atari 2600. If you get by the limitations of this game, it's actually not too bad. I guess it all depends on your expectations. I didn't have high expectations back then when I had my Atari 2600. I pretty much love the game just the way it is. But anyway, that was Donkey Kong Jr. Thanks for watching.